Alright, Mr. Claxton's Algebra 1 classes. I wanted to explain just how to do some of the homework problems very quickly by using some samples or examples for those you might not have understood in class. You can watch this over and over and pause appropriately. We're going to find the slope of the lines that are graphed below. In order to find the slope of the line, we need to first identify some points on this line. I always say identify some nice points. What do I mean by nice points? I mean they need to cross at the intersection of one of the grid lines. If you look at this point right here, it crosses at one of the grid lines. I can make or at the intersection of one of the grid lines. I can make a point right there. And then the other easy one to identify is 0, 0. Boy, 0, 0 is such an easy point to identify there. It goes right through the origin. So after I identify those 2 points, I want to make sure that I can correctly identify them. I know that from the origin, I go left 1, down 1, 2, 3. So you definitely need to acknowledge that is -3. So I have the point -1, -3. Many people are graphing quite well. You're not getting those mixed up. I feel like we did a good job at learning that earlier on in the year. After I identify that point, I know my other point is the origin at 0, 0. So now there are several ways that you can do it. The first way that I'm going to discuss is the plug and chug method. You plug in values and keep on chugging along. So with that method, we'll just call that method A. We're going to use the slope formula. We know that m is equal to the change in y over the change in x. Wait, how do I represent change in math? Well, that's right, subtraction. So you take y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, if you do it that way, you need to declare one of these points point 1 and the other point 2. Some people always like to work left to right, but you can use really whatever order you want to. That would be x1, value x1, that would be y1. So then this would be x2, the second point, and y2. You can go ahead and label those. That really does help you to keep from making mistakes if you find yourself making mistakes. So looking at x1, y1, and x2, y2, I want to take y2 minus y1. I know that y2 is 0 minus -3. So I'm going to go ahead and write that as 0 minus -3. Here we go. We've got 0 minus -3 over x2 minus x1. x2 is 0 minus -1. 0 minus -1. I do like you to write it out like that. Eventually you'll get to the point where you can just go back and say, oh, Mr. Claxton, that is plus a positive, and that is plus a positive. Yeah, and that will help to give you the slope of the line. So I know the slope of the line as a fraction is 3 over 1. If I just wanted to write that as a natural number, it's equal to 3. That means that you can keep going up 3, right 1, 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 forever and ever and ever. The other method that we're going to use is the visual method. That's where you put your pencil on a dot, and then you just analyze the vertical change and the horizontal change. So with this one, I'm going to pick one of these 2 points that I've declared. Pick this point right here, the leftmost point. I know that in order to get to the next dot, I need to move up or down first. I need to move up 1, 2, 3. Some people like that 1, 2, 3. And then I know that I need to move right 1. So up 3, right 1. Up 3, right 1. I do want you to write for this one that slope is vertical change over horizontal change. Please excuse that sloppy handwriting there. Now, an easier way to write that is just change in y over change in x, using delta as that symbol that means change in. And Mr. Claxton needs to learn how to spell, right? And that would be just delta y over delta x. If you want to use delta y over delta x, I'm okay with that. But you know, delta y over delta x will leave you with, remember, I have to express that vertical change first, 3 over 1. I know that my slope is 3. So remember, the first thing we need to do is identify 2 points on the line. Identify 2 points on the line. Oh, look at that. I have the x-intercept and the y-intercept. I'm going to go ahead and use those 2 points for second problem. I know that this point right here, it goes back 3. It goes up or down 0. So just negative 3, comma, 0 is the point. Definitely make sure that we put parentheses around that. I know I go left or right 0, but I go up 3. So the point 0, 3. And I'm going to let you pause, decide which way that you would prefer to use, which method down here you would prefer to use. Okay, coming back, I hope that you've chosen a wise method to use. I am going to use the second method I showed you, just putting your pencil on one of the points and going up and over. And this makes it really easy when you think about it. In order to get to the level of the next point, I know that I need to go up 3 because I'm going from 0 to 3. So I know that's going to be 3 spots. And remember, I want to write my slope. So again, I'm using method B here, method B. I want to write my slope as, you could write it as change in y over change in x. My change in y here is 3. My change in x, what is my change in x going to be? Well, I need to go over to that next point. I know that I'm going from here all the way over to the y-axis, that vertical axis. So I know I'm going 1, 2, 3. 3 over 3, right? Change in y over change in x, 3 over 3. I know as a fraction, I could write that as 2 over 2. I could write it as 1 over 1. I could just write it as 1 as well. Hopefully, if you're struggling on how to determine the slope of a line, this was helpful to you.